All right. This is the fourth class where we're going to talk about Capitulum Unum, Pars Tertia, Chapter 1, Part 3, Declinationes Nominum, noun declensions. We touched a little bit on that last time, but I want to go over that again in a little more detail. And because we're going to slowly use, so far other than the in Italia, where you have to have a macron over the A, and it's the ablativus is what it's known as, really haven't had a whole lot of serious grammar with the nouns. We've seen plural, oppidum, oppida, insula, insulae. So, but we're going to kind of, hopefully in this session, kind of round that all out into something sensible. So let's begin with our initial prayer. In nomine Patris et Filii et Spiritus Sancti. Amen. Ave Maria, gratia plena, Dominus tecum, benedicta tu in mulieribus, et benedictus fructus ventris tui, Iesus. Sancta Maria, Mater Dei, ora pro nobis peccatoribus, nunc et in hora mortis nostrae. Amen. And let me point out something to you here. Whoa. Hold on a second. There we go. You keep getting dropped, Tiffany? Okay, hopefully Zoom is not dropping. My connection looks good. Oh, well, anyway. As I was about to say, I wanted to point out something. When you look at like the Hail Mary here or the Ave Maria, you begin to say, oh, hey, Maria, feminine noun, right? First declension. Gratia, feminine noun. Plena is an adjective, but matches gratia. Dominus, US ending, so it's masculine. Benedicta, feminine. You don't know what a mulieribus is yet, so we'll just leave that aside. Benedictus, masculine. Fructus is masculine, but it's, well, let's just leave it aside for the moment. Jesus, okay, masculine. Sancta Maria. So you should be able to start picking up some of the endings as you look at the liturgy. And it will help you, it's a good practice to do that because it will help you later on as you add more and more stuff to our, to your list of things that you know. All right, what are we going to do? Well, we've already done the initial prayer. Questiones de capítulo uno. So let's start with that. Questions on chapter 1. Does anybody have any questions on the first chapter, parts 1 and 2 or 3? And by the way, you have a couple of answers. Intelligo, which means you understand, or I understand. Non intelligo, I do not understand. I will say intelligitisne, which means capisce in Latin, okay? Understand that? And then lexio is if you go to the Latin Mass, maybe not so much in the, well, no, even in the extraordinary form, you will say Lexio Sancti so-and-so. So here's a little, I'm going to slowly inject a little more conversational Latin into the classes. So we're going to start with those anyway. But any questions on chapter 1? And I've graded everybody's homework that has turned in homework for that matter. So.
Hey, Michael, something I noticed in the reading that I might throw some people off, like when we're in Mass and they say secundum, like when
yeah.
and then you got the you might want to explain the difference on that so they don't get that confused. The first thing that hit my head is that that might throw some people off.
I'm going to hold off on that one. Okay.
Okay,
But what Teresa's talking about is there is this we've seen with the letters, littera prima, littera secunda, littera tertia, littera quart. Did they do all the way to? No, I think they just did tertia. I don't think they did quarta. There is another word that is close to that when they say Lexio, or no, they Evangelium secundum Matteo or something. The gospel according to Matthew. Well, that secundum looks a lot like secunda or secundus secundum, meaning second. And we'll talk about that later. For the moment, just at least reading anyways in the Familia Romana. Just right now, all you know is second, number 2. All right. Well, if there's no more questions, let's get started then. Declinationes, declensions. Now, I mentioned last time that the nomini Latina, Latin nouns, have genus, numerus, casus, or gender, number, and case. But I didn't get into any of the serious details yet. We need to start discussing this. We saw a little bit in chapter 1. We're going to see more in chapter 2. And then chapter 3, you're going to kind of get all of them. So in the interest of showing what you've known so far and what you're going to come up against, I think this is a reasonable thing to do. And I will warn you, declinationes is with an I, but the English word is with an E. And I hope I got all the Latin with the I and all the English with an E. I'm kind of sad that Alex isn't here because he was always a master in pointing out my typos. So you guys are going to have to substitute for him. But anyway, as I said last time, a declension, declinatio, is simply a group of words that share the same endings for its various forms of genus, numerus, and casus. Okay, and I'm going to get to a table. If you've printed out the or looked at the notes, you'll see what's coming. But you already have the singular and plural forms for some of them. So you have the numerus, insula, insulae, and we're at one island or 2 or more islands, and that's the first declension, okay? A ending nouns are from the first declension, and they are feminine, okay? Then fluvius, fluvii, 1 river, 2 rivers, or well, 2 or more rivers really, is second declension, and it is masculine, okay? So that US ending is a tip-off. And then oppidum, oppida, 1 city or 2 or more cities, is second declension neuter. So you've already seen a number of words that are in the first declension and the second declension. The reason these are in the same declension is because they follow almost the same pattern. There's a little bit of difference between the masculine and the neuter. But Latin grammarians, blame it all on Latin grammarians from the 1st century. They set up this to explain Latin. So now, for every noun, there are 2 parts. And by the way, this is from the Grammatica section of part 1. There's a thema and a terminatio. Well, thema can be theme in English. I prefer to translate it in this case as root. And then terminatio, we saw that last time, is ending. And if you look in your Grammatica section, you'll find it says tema dicitur ea nominus parsque non mutatur in declinatione. Anybody want to give that a shot in English?
A root can be said to be the part of the noun that does not change
Correct.
when declined.
Yep, that is exactly right.
Whoa, okay, great.
Yeah, so yeah, I mean, this is kind of the part of the whole part of the natural method is, you know, you can often make some intelligent guesses on what the Latin means without necessarily having studied the word. And that's a good way to start reading and thinking. Because even me, you know, I come upon words that it's like, okay, what does that mean? And sometimes I can make a good guess based on it's a Latin root word for an English word. And other times it's like, well, okay, dictionary time. But yes, the theme or the root is said to be the part of the noun, pars nominus, which does not change in the declination. Oh, there's Alex. He can catch all my typos now. So we've seen, well, okay. Now in the example, they put in the words servus and serva, which is servant or slave. Can mean either one. We're going to, when we hit the Familia Romana in chapter 2, they actually start talking about an actual family. And so there's the man, the woman, the children, you know, the sons, the daughters, and of course, the slaves and the servants. Ancilla, which is handmaiden, opid for oppidum, magnum, brevum, or well, so these are the parts that do not change across the all of the various parts of the declension. And I'll have tables later on. All right. Litere quae in nomine declinando ad thema adiciuntur. Terminationes dicuntur. Okay. Oh, you mean, well, we'll get to that later. I'm looking at your question, Laura. Anyway, the letters which in the noun are declined and added to the root are called the endings. In this case, well, anyway. So we have UM, IAM, AEO, ES, and IBUS. You haven't seen some of those yet, but those are typically endings. So in the book, it says, in exemplis huius libri thema a terminatione dividitur tenui linea. So what that means is in the examples of this book, the root is divided from the ending by a thin line or fine line. So if you look at it, you may say insula, and then there's a little slash and an A and an AE, which means insula as an ending in A, and then the AE is, oh dear, well, in this case, the plural, we have, or actually really it's the genitive, excuse me, I'm getting ahead of myself. Let me show you something here that I'm talking about.
Hey, Michael, before you leave the screen.
Yeah.
Terminationes dicuntur, that the dicuntur is your passes. You're saying like the endings that are said, right?
No, it is called, are called the endings.
Okay.
Michael,
Well, okay, or okay, it's passive. So yes, you could say, oh dear, do we have a, I'm trying to think here. Yeah, no, yeah, are called endings. Yeah, so no, that is passive, or the end, yeah, that is passive.
Michael?
Yeah.
You mean to draw a line to show the dividing line for Servi?
Yeah, there
Yeah.
should be
Get a
a,
brain fart.
there we go. Yeah.
Right. The I, okay.
And so if we pop over here, let me, let's pop over here to this. Okay. Are we in, oh, why is this blank? You come back. Might have gotten logged out, might have taken too long. Oh, let's see here. Let's try that part. There we go. All right, let's go to that part. There we go. So you will see, you'll see this sort of thing. Oh, let me zoom up that. That's probably too small. So you will see things like this: insula, AE, servus with an I, oppidum with an I. Now, we haven't talked yet about what that means. And I'm going to get to that later on in the slides. So it's probably it's a little hard to put this in any order, because in order to talk about it, you actually have to know several things. So this may not make
Michael, how do you,
Michael, I think they do in chapter 2.
Yeah, they do. And this is a prelude to chapter 2.
Oh, okay.
We're gonna get there for the moment.
I'm sorry, I thought we were there.
No, not yet. Oh, no, I'm sorry. I meant the slides. So anyway, from the Grammatica, we see declinationis nominum sunt quinque, meaning the declinations of there are 5 declinations of nouns. Declinatio prima is that feminine, like insula. Okay. Now, when they talk about the genitive singular, I will get, well, maybe we should go ahead here. Let's see here. No, we'll do this in order. Well, okay, the genitive case is the possessive form of the noun. Works pretty much the same as in English. In English, we say John's book or the book of John. Either way, John is the possessor, or he is the, so his form of noun in Latin is called the genitivus, or the genitive in English. Now, we haven't seen that form in the readings yet, but you're going to shortly, not in section 4, but you're going to get hit up with them in section or in chapter 2. So I'm sort of getting, yeah, that's exactly insula. Yeah, insulation, isolation. Yeah. Anyway, we haven't seen this this genitive in the readings yet, but oppidum Rome est magnum. Rome is the possessive form, so the city of Rome is big. All right. Now we just say Roma est magna, Rome is big, but we can say oppidum Rome est magnum. The city of Rome is big. We have it in the sign of the cross. In nomine Patris et Filii et Spiritus Sancti. So in the name of the Father, Patris, of the Son, Filii, and Spiritus Sancti, of the Holy Spirit. All of those underlying nouns are in the genitive. So take that out of, we're taking that slightly out of order. Okay. So anyway, the reason this is listed this way, as we will slowly find out, is if I just give you insula and I don't give you the genitive ending, you will find out later on that there are other forms of nouns that are not of the of these six, or sorry, these five declensions. Okay, the one in particular that is really, oops, wow, what, that should be servus. Wow, okay. So we mentioned that the declinazione secunda, which is the masculine nouns. Let's take let's see, what's trying to think, one of the Nilus. There we go. The Nile River. Nilus ends in US, and if I didn't tell you it was Nilus, Nili, the plural is an I, you wouldn't be able to distinguish it from the fourth declension, which is also a US ending. But the genitive, this possessive part, is different. Okay. Right now, you don't have to worry too much about that because we're only concerned with these two. Okay. So, so if you see an A ending like insula, you know that it's plural, or it is insulae. And if you see a oppidum, you know the plural is an A, and we'll get to the tables here in a minute. So anyway, so I think gender and number makes sense to most folks. I mean, we don't have gender in our most of our English words. We have a few. She, he.
Michael, I'm having a problem with that when you go plural, that you're not changing the declension.
No,
Or does that stay
you're
constant?
changing the
with
case.
word?
You're
Pardon?
changing the case. Or sorry, you're changing the number. Tell you what, let me jump ahead. Maybe this will help or not. Let's see here. There we go. So these are the endings that you know so far for the declinatio prima. So you drop the A on the end for, and I'll show you an example here in a minute, to get the thema, and add the terminatio. So these are the endings we have so far. You have the singular A, insula, and then you have the plural, insulae. So the only difference between insula and insulae is they're both nominative, or nominativus, but one is singular, the other is plural.
Mhm.
Now you've only had the ablativus singular, so in Italia. If you wanted to say on the islands, you would actually say in insulis. So we really don't have to worry about that one. These are the three that you've had: the insula, insulae, insula. And I'm going to go down here and give you insula. So the nominative, or nominativus, insula, singular. Plural is insulae, islands. The ablativus is, which we'll learn a little bit later on, is from, by, with, in. Whoops, I missed one. ISLAND. Why didn't you catch that, Alex?
I was too busy trying to complete your sentence that you didn't finish a couple of minutes ago.
Oh, okay.
You were saying, if you don't mind me interrupting, that when you get a word like insula, there's a comma and it has the AE. And
Right.
you started to explain what that meant. And this might be a good place, if I may suggest, for you to do that.
Yeah. Okay. If we look, actually, I was hoping I had just explained that. All right, let's try it this way.
I don't think you finished.
Nope, you didn't.
Let's try it this way.
Okay.
Let's try it this way. Okay. Let me pop up. There we go. Here's my Latin dictionary. Hopefully people can see that, right?
Mhm.
I can squeeze it down. If I squeeze it down, does that make it bigger on your screen or smaller or no change?
Bigger.
Bigger? Okay.
Yep.
So it fills the screen. Okay, so I'll do that. There we go. All right, if we look up the word insula, now there are actually a couple of words. The one we want is island. There is also insula with a capital I, okay? Notice there's a place which is part of the city of Syracuse, and I don't mean Syracuse, New York.
And I put a little of this in the comments, that
So-
the reason the insula, meaning apartment building,
Well,
is
hold
called
on,
that
hold on. We're not
because it
talking
only-
about, hold on, we're not talking about apartment buildings.
no, but I
We're talking
mean,
about
it
islands.
takes up an entire city block, so it's like an,
I know, but we're not talking about those. We're talking about islands, okay? Let's not get ahead.
Thank you.
So anyway, insula, which means an island or isle. So if you look in a dictionary, you will see insula, comma, AE, comma, F. And that will tell you that, hey, it's insula. AE, that's first declension. F means it's feminine. And if you go over here, you see that these are all the endings for the declensions. Okay. Now this Scriba does it for some reason or other in a slightly different order. I usually do nominative, genitive, dative, accusative, ablative. I believe the book uses even a different order in some cases. So just, be aware of what those labels are. But that tells you how you need to decline that noun, okay? And so,
Well, this is where I get confused, Michael. It's the plural, insulae.
Yeah.
And then the next one down is insulae. And I'm sitting there going, and then the
No,
dative,
no.
insulae, singular. I'm
No,
sitting there
Michael.
going,
Michael, you
Yeah.
didn't, you didn't explain that when it says insula, comma, insulae, that the insulae is the genitive singular.
yeah, that's what I just said, or I said it earlier. Okay, I guess people
I don't
didn't
think you
catch
said
that.
it.
See, in order, okay. This is always the nominative form, and this is the genitive form, okay?
Singular.
Singular, yes, genitive singular. And that tells you how to decline the noun. Okay? Because that will specify everything you need to know about that noun. Because, as I said earlier, the first declension, let me switch back to here. Come on, there. These are all the endings of the first declension, okay? So if it is nominative, it ends in A for singular. And if it's genitive, it ends in AE, okay? Now I'm going to skip down some more here. Oh boy, okay.
But Michael,
Yeah,
the other Michael was,
Yeah.
if I understood what he was saying, he was talking about insulae as plural. And
Yep.
so you want to distinguish those two
correct.
in the nominative.
yes. But, okay.
It
If
has
I said books, is that plural in English? Or is it singular? And is it possessive or not?
Boy, that's a good question.
Yeah, okay. Now let me
you'd
drop-
have to pick it up by context
yeah,
if you were
let me
listening.
let me add a
But
slide.
if you were
here.
reading, it would be obvious.
Yeah, hopefully, let me add a slide here. There we go. All right, so if I type the word books, if I say the word books, you don't know if I mean books or books or books, right?
S apostrophe.
Yeah. Oh, sorry. Thank you.
You're welcome. Alex, you're sleeping.
Alex, you're dropping the ball again.
The newbie's getting it. Yeah.
No, seriously though. Yeah, you don't know whether it's, this would be genitive singular. This would be plural. And of course, this would be genitive plural. So you would have no way, just hearing that word as a standalone to know what it meant. Okay. No way. So what you're going to have to do, and this, again, we're getting way ahead of things, but I guess today is going to be get way ahead of things night, is to, when you read it, you will be able, well, as in English, you'll be able, well, okay, English distinguishes it by a clever, use of the word apostrophe.
Context.
But for example, if I just say insulae, oh, hold on. I have to put the macro on there, don't I? Okay. I can mean islands,
Right.
ISL. There we go. Or I can mean that. There is no way you can tell. And actually, it's a little, let me get rid of this so I have a little more space. Actually, it's worse than that. There are a couple of AE endings in that declension that you don't know. But for the moment, let's just use the plural and the genitive just to keep things simple. So what I have to say now, if I said, let me give you this. Femina is woman. So if I said feminae insula, what do you think that might mean? I can't say
The feminine island?
no. All right. What is AE?
Island of Women.
Island?
Island of women?
The
No,
woman's island?
a woman's island.
Oh, God. I would have never got
Every
that.
man's nightmare.
All
Yeah.
right. Well, okay. But we're getting ahead of it for the moment. Okay. Let's not get too down in the weeds. You'll find that when you begin reading, see that it will actually, by virtue of the subject, again, I just pulled those words out of the blue, so
Mhm.
you don't necessarily know what we're talking about, but you will find in the reading that it will become much more apparent what those particular, when there's multiple choices, just like English. Okay. Just like English, there's okay, what's the difference between these two? They're not pronounced the same. One is read, the other is read. But if you just saw the word read, you wouldn't know if it's read as in I am reading or read as in past. So there's a lot of places in English we do this automatically. So you'll find it's not really as bad as you might think. And by the way, women, let's see, Island of Women would be insula.
It's already up there.
No. Feminarum.
Yeah,
That's Island of Women.
no, there's an M at the end there. It's feminarum. with an M.
Sorry, you're right. Typo. Thank you. Insula Feminarum. That would be Island of Women. Okay. But again, we're getting ahead of ourselves because we do not have all of the, I just want to talk about the endings. Whoops, where'd it go? Yoo-hoo. There it is. I just want to talk about the endings of the first declension and the ones you know already. Okay.
Mhm.
And as I say, you only need to memorize the nominative, ablative, singular, and plural for these just these guys for the moment. Okay. But be aware that when you see that noun, it is the nominative and genitive that they give you in the dictionary. Okay. And I realize that's probably very confusing, but it will, believe it or not, make a little more sense as we get into the readings. So anyway, let's see, where was I? Oh, cases. All right, let's talk about cases, since unfortunately we jumped ahead of there. Casus Latine, Latin cases. All right, English is a rather short on cases. So this is a hard part in Latin, okay? There's no question about it. It's going to take some time and energy, but you're going to need them, and you're going to see them even more and more as we get further into the lessons. You're going to see a whole bunch of them when we jump into chapter 2. And by the way, chapter 1, section 4 is the one that starts talking about this. So what I'm trying to do here is, let's see here. Let me pull that section up. There it is. Okay, whoops. Let me switch over. So, whoops, no. There we go. Okay. So you're gonna, oh, let's collapse that up there. So this is section 4 here, the Grammatica Latina. And this is going to get more and more into the plural and the singular. Okay. And then, so that's 2 sets of endings that you're going to need to know. And if I may mention, these are all nominative in this section, okay? So Corsica insula magna est. Corsica is a big island. That's all nominative, okay? That's all nominative. Well, let's see here. Nominative case is when the noun is the subject, or it's known as a predicate noun. Whoops. Now I got to switch back. Hold on. There should really be an easier way to do this. There. Okay. So the nominative case is when the noun is the subject or is a predicate noun. Now, what the heck is a predicate noun? Okay. Predicate noun is a noun that further defines or explains the subject of a sentence. Okay. The type of noun, it always follows a form of the verb to be, which, you know, is, are. So Roma oppidum est. Roma is the subject, okay? And it is in nominative case. Roma oppidum est. Oppidum here is what's known as a predicate noun. Both of those are in the nominative case, okay? So if it's just a simple declarative sentence, which is what you generally have only been dealing with, then you are going to use the, there we go. You're going to use the singular or plural forms, that line right there.
Okay, hey, Michael, go back to the last page you were just on.
Nominative, yeah.
Confused. You have Roma oppidum est, and then you have Roma oppidum est again, which is, and you're saying it's a predicate noun. Well, instead of saying oppidum, why don't you say oppida?
Ah, okay. Good question.
You're welcome.
A couple of people made that same mistake in the exercise. Why do you want to
was
say
one of them.
oppida?
Well, oppida would be plural.
Yeah, I understand. Let Michael answer.
Sorry.
Well, she kind of gave that away, but
Yeah, she did. I know. Ruined the whole thing. No. Seriously though, you were thinking because Roma ends in an
Correct.
A, then oppida has to end in an A, right?
that is correct.
Yeah. Okay. You're not the only one that made the mistake. Okay.
Okay.
No, Roma is the noun, right?
Yes, sir.
Oppidum is the noun, right?
Now,
City.
Yes.
It's not an adjective. It doesn't describe the noun. I mean, you know, Roma Magna, big Rome, or maybe Insula Magna is better. Big island.
You're explaining what Rome is, Roma.
Yeah, but
the
this is
city.
a noun. It's not an adjective.
Michael, why don't you type? Can you type there to show the difference having Manya in there? That might make it easier.
Okay. Well, okay, you want to say Rome is a big city, right?
Magnus magnum opidum. Now that would be correct
Right,
because you're playing off the adjective magnum,
right.
magnum
Magnum,
or magnum. I'm sorry.
not Magnum.
Yeah.
That was a series from way back when, Magnum PI.
It's also length.
Also it's also a what, a magnum of wine.
Yeah.
And
the
it's also a
gun.
kind of bullet too.
Think
Yeah.
lasagna.
Yeah, think
of
lasagna.
Lasagna.
Magnum. Or canyon,
Magnum. Magnum.
magnum.
Okay,
Yeah.
so that I get. No problem. But
Okay,
then when you take out the magnum and you just have the, oh,
oppidum, short O.
yeah, I would have thought it would be opidum or opida.
No, because oppidum is one city and oppida is two or more cities.
Yeah, but in
So
the,
if you said
Different
Roma,
definitions.
oppida est, you're saying Rome is cities, which doesn't make any sense in English or Latin.
yeah, but then I look at your chart, this is where I get confused. You have the nominative case and you have the singular and the plural,
Right.
and A is singular, right?
Well, we're getting, okay.
Yeah, Roma and Oppidum are different, are different declensions.
Yes.
Yeah, see, now that's the other thing, you guys are throwing a curve at me. I have no idea, but I'm having a hard time grasping that concept.
Okay, all right. Well, let's tell you what, let's go through these in order and see
Michael,
if we can straighten things out.
Yeah, and this is one of the reasons why the natural method helps, because they are leading you by sentence, and you see how it's used.
Yeah, but I don't understand why in this way it's spelled this way and why in this way it's spelled that way. Like Gratium, Gracia. They have like.
Okay. All right. Okay, hold on.
Okay,
We're talking about nouns at the moment, okay?
okay.
If you recall, let me dig it up. Give me just a second here. Okay. Let me figure out. Okay, let me do this. Now, this was from last time. So, where we talked about
Uh-huh,
adjectives.
correct.
Now, an adjective is something that modifies a noun
Yeah.
or describes a noun.
Mhm,
So we had fluvius manius, the big river.
mhm,
Fluvius parvus, the little river. Insula Magna, big island. Insula Parva, little island. Oppidum Magnum, big city. Oppidum Parvum, little city.
mhm,
Okay?
mhm.
Now, any adjective that describes a noun, and this is adjective, I should whoops. Let me underline that.
Okay,
Must agree in gender, number, and case. So we say fluvius manius, because fluvius is masculine and manius is a adjective in the masculine form, singular.
mhm,
And then we say fluvii mani if they are plural.
correct.
Okay. So since fluvii is plural nominative, mani is plural nominative.
Mhm,
Same thing for insula magna, big island, singular. Insulae magnae, plural. So big island, big islands.
mhm.
Oppidum magnum, big city. Oppidi magna, plural. So
Yeah,
oppidum, oh, go ahead. You were going to ask something.
I
Go
was gonna
ahead.
say, so that second part would be big cities.
Big cities, yes. Yes. So the adjective matches the ending of the noun, but the nouns themselves do not have to match at all. Roma est oppidum. Rome is a city.
Mhm.
A city is a city is a concrete thing, whereas an adjective is a description of that thing. Okay.
Got it. Mhm.
And so the adjectives, in order to know that the adjective modifies the noun, then they have to have the same gender, case, and number. And for now, since you guys only know the first and second declensions, those are the same endings. Okay.
Mhm.
And so, as I said, right now we have one kind of adjectives that end in US, A, or UM. So manus, mania, manium, parvus, parva, parvum. What were the other ones? I don't remember what we've had so far, but they take the same endings as the nouns. Okay. Now, we're going to get into conjugations later on that break this rule, but for now, don't worry about it. Just we'll worry about that in chapter 9. Okay, we got to take one thing at a time. So, Brundisium et Sparta oppida mania sunt.
Perfect example.
Brundisium and Sparta are big cities. So the mania refers back to the oppida. Okay, the oppida does not refer back to Sparta or as an adjective, that is, to Sparta or Brundisium. In fact, if you had Sparta and Brundisium and the oppida had to have the same ending, which one would you pick?
Say that, what was that question again?
Okay, let's say oppida had to match either Sparta or Brundisium, which would you make it?
Sparta?
No, if oppida had to match, you'd make it oppida Sparta. Well,
yeah.
In this case, it just so happens that Sparta has the same ending. We could put Sparta, let's see, what do we want here? Do we have a,
That one begins with a T.
yeah, well, I'm trying to think if there's a Tusculum, but they both end in UM.
Oh, that's right.
Anyway, no, the oppida here is.
How about Delhi? Delhi, would Delhi work? Delphi? I'm sorry, Delhi.
Delhi is the wrong word.
Okay, sorry.
No, I'm trying to think of words you guys know. I've suddenly thought of all sorts of words that you don't know, which isn't a big help. But anyway, the point is big cities. Okay, Sparta and Brundisium. Oh, here we'll do it the other way. Here, let's do it the other way around. There we go. There. See, this doesn't change because it means cities. And mania has the same ending as oppida because it means big cities.
And because the subject is compound, because it's two cities.
Yes, right. Yes, this is compound, therefore plural.
And,
So say Sparta and Brundisium sunt.
and sunt is plural because it's Sparta and Brundisium.
Right,
Correct.
right,
Got it.
right. And that's not that much different from English, other than the fact that you have to, English, the big modifies cities. Big does not modify these directly. You don't say the big Brundisium and the big Sparta.
No, they're indirect.
Yeah. So that makes sense?
Yes.
Okay. So let's try to continue here. And so, anyway, casus nominativus. This is really unless the word came after an in, these were, everything you had read up to this point was in the nominative case, okay? Roma, okay. So Roma est in Italia, Roma is in nominative. Europa, let's see. Italia est in Europa, Italia, would be in the nominative case. So this shouldn't be too bad. In fact, in some sense, in English, all of our words look like they're in the nominative case because we don't change them. English uses small words to indicate how that changes. But Latin uses the endings. Now, the next one, genitive, as I said, is used for the possessive form of the noun. So, and works the same as English. You know, English does have a possessive form. So John's book or the book of John, either way, is genitive in English. So if we said oppidum Rome est magnum, we would say that is saying the city of Rome is big. Now, why is this magnum? Because again, it's a big city. Okay. And Rome happens to be in the genitive form because we're talking about the city of Rome. Make sense? And you've already seen the genitive in the sign of the cross. If you actually know the sign of the cross. Well, actually, we begin with it in the beginning, so no excuse, right?
Right.
All right. So you think the genitive makes sense? Or shall I say intelligitisne? And you have there's your there's your optional answers. Intelligo or non intelligo.
You're on a different, whatchamacallit.
Oh, you know what?
That's why I'm
Dang
sitting there
it.
going, what are you talking about?
I'm sorry. There we go. I will go back to, there we go. So let's see, where was, I was in the genitive on this one, sorry. As I said, the genitive case is used for the possessive form of the nouns. Works the same as English, John's book or the book of John.
Mhm.
We haven't seen the genitive in the readings yet, but you will shortly. And so if I have oppidum Rome est magnum, Rome is the possessive form. Oops.
Oh, okay.
Possessive
Rome.
form. All right, let's see. Come on. Why can't I change it? Hold on. Uh-oh. That's strange. This is locked out. Okay. Do I have this on? Oh, unlock. There we go. Form. There we go.
Mhm.
Is because it's the city of Rome. And magnum refers back to oppidum, city, not Rome. So you could say, yeah, Rome is a big city.
That's
Or
what
I should say, sorry, you should say the city of Rome is big. If you're
Yeah,
going to
that's
say
what I was
Rome is a
getting
big
confused.
city, then it would be Roma est magnum oppidum. In that case, Roma would be in the nominative.
That's where my brain would freeze on that AE on Roma.
Because city of Rome. In fact,
Can you say Roman city is
the
large?
city of Rome, not the
Mhm.
Roman city,
Okay.
city of Rome is big.
Okay, Roman. Possessive.
If I were to drop the E off or the A off, this would literally mean Rome is a big city.
Correct.
Okay.
Yes.
Let's see. Let me.
And you notice the only difference between the two lines is the
E.
Roman and Roma.
Yep.
And that's where I'm sitting there going, again, brain freeze.
Well, that's because you haven't really picked it up in the reading yet. Okay. I'm intentionally getting ahead of things. Okay.
Okay.
Only to, hopefully to clue you in on what's coming up. Okay.
Does any of the other newbies have questions like this, or am I the only moron in the class?
Well,
love
some of us have an advantage that we were in the previous class.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's not fair.
It's
Oh,
just
on
good
that
you're
slide,
asking- It's good you're asking these questions. There probably are people that have the questions and they're just not comfortable speaking up.
Yes,
Uh, So I'm
there have been
scapegoat.
some very silent members of this class.
okay,
And some of us forget very quickly, so the extra questions help.
Yeah, and I don't want to manipulate.
Now, if you're having trouble, I suspect there are others who are,
Okay.
Michael,
they're your silent partners, shall we say.
Michael,
Yeah,
I really do think, just as, unsolicited comment, all of this genitive case will make a lot more sense when everyone starts reading chapter 2.
oh, yes,
Okay.
yes,
They do a pretty good job of explaining it.
yeah,
Before you start reading it, they explain it pretty well. And then when you start reading it, it makes a lot more sense because you're looking at the genitive in context of a story.
All right. Hey, Alex, when you say they explain it pretty well before you start reading it, what part would I be reading that would explain it before I start?
Okay,
reading
I'm
it?
looking at it right here. It says, "We now introduce you to the people whose daily lives you're going to read about."
yep.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, here we go. Let me bring up the Latine Disco. And I will actually put it on the screen now. Instead of read from it and make people wonder what I'm
Thank you.
talking about. Yeah, see,
When you read that whole section,
Mhm.
then if you read that before you actually read the story in chapter 2, that helps explain this in a pretty well. And
Mhm.
then when you start reading chapter 2, then you can see how it makes sense. That the story reveals how the genitive works.
Mhm.
So reading this and reading the story, I guarantee you will understand this a whole lot better.
yes,
Gotcha. Okay.
yeah,
Thank you.
and I was thinking it might have been easier on you to get ahead. I may reconsider. I may let you guys read it and then struggle and then answer. Maybe that's a better order. Because because this is the first time I've used this series. I like it a lot, but I have to tweak my teaching
Mhm.
methods. But yeah, see, you were going to see this genitive here.
Mhm.
So like, okay, you see this line here, Julius est dominus multorum servorum et multarum ancillarum. Julius is the master of many servants and many handmaidens. Okay.
Mhm.
So master of servants, master of handmaidens. Okay. So this will, as Alex said, hopefully this will make a lot more sense when you get into the readings.
And I like the conjunctions down below because that's another one where I start, the quay,
Yes.
quid, and quiz.
Well, quisque quid is literally who or what. But yes, we have et and the dash QUE, filii, filiaque is sons and sons, filieque, sons and daughters. And
Michael,
the comments in the hold on, Alec, the comments in the margin are generally very important
Mhm.
on stuff. But yeah, go ahead, Alex.
well, I was going to say, and also you may want to point out that you see how it says "est dominus multiorum" or
Multorum, multorum, sorry.
multarum ancillarum,
Yes,
and the point being that you're dealing with servus and you're dealing with ancilla. So servus is the masculine, ancilla is the feminine, and that's why you have aurum and aurum on both of those. You have
Yeah.
you see
Yeah.
aurum and servorum, and then
Yes.
you have aurum and aurum, and the reason for that is that servorum is of the servant, and that's servus, which is masculine, whereas ancilla is the feminine. So the masculine ending is the multorum servorum, but the feminine ending is multarum ancillarum. So you're talking about servants and handmaids. Servants is masculine, handmaids is feminine. And
Yeah,
that's
but they
why-
both end in the same RUM.
Yeah, but it's not RUM, it's ORUM and ARUM.
Yeah, see. here,
Oh, I didn't even see that. Thank you.
Yeah, I see. Okay, this now, this is where, let's see, how should we say? Yeah, Alex is a lawyer, so he's pointing out the.
Yeah,
fine
you got to
print
read this
here.
critically.
See, it's ORUM, ORUM, ARUM, and ARUM. And let's go back for a moment, back to the, let me go back to my slide here, and we'll even get the right one this time, okay? Let's see, where was that? Yeah, here it is. Aurum, and this is the first declension. And later on, we're going to see the aurum, which is the second declension.
But
Okay.
notice that the first slide you showed was the feminine, the second slide is the masculine.
Yep. Yep. So
Well,
these
this
are
one
the
that-
US ending, these are the US or UM ending nouns. And the other one was the A ending nouns.
I think that being English speakers and we don't do a whole lot with masculine and feminine.
No, we don't.
uh,
We don't.
it's going to take a while to twist your mind around some of this stuff and get used to it.
Yeah, we have a little bit of it with he and she. He hit the ball or he hit him. So we don't say he hit he, we say he hit him. And so you do see echoes of these changes as a function of grammar. We say who rang, right? But we say to whom did you give the ball? So we see the who change forms depending upon its function. Now, we've all spoken English, hopefully, for many years. There are a lot of people out there that don't seem to speak it at all, but that's a different problem. You know, we change it ourselves without really thinking about it.
Mhm.
So there are analogies to this in English. As I said, though, there's just not as many. I mean, Latin cases just really don't exist in English, except as in very special cases. All right, so let's proceed onward then. So where were we? Okay, so this is nominative. Genitive is a possessive form, okay? Dative and ablative, I don't really want to talk about yet, okay? You're not going to get them right away, but they're used for indirect objects, meaning I gave the ball to the priest. To the priest is known as an indirect object. And if you don't, if the last time you took English grammar was 100 years ago, and these are all foreign words, don't worry about it. We'll talk about it more later. And it'll actually make more, it probably makes more sense in Latin than it does English. Accusative is used for what's known as the direct object. I gave the ball to the priest, meaning the ball is the thing that is being given, and the priest is the one that's getting it. So it's called the indirect object. Don't worry about it, okay? The ablative we are going to worry about because we saw it already. You saw it in Roma in Italia est. That regular A became a long A, okay? So you wouldn't say in oppidum, you would say in oppido, in the city. You say in Italia, in Italy, in Roma, in Rome. Oh, let's see, what did I do? Oops. There's no typo there. See?
It's a figment of our imagination.
It's a figment of your imagination. No, it's a Zoom bug. It's a Zoom bug. Trust me, it's a Zoom bug. Thank you. let's see, where was I? Oh, so anyway, so this, we do use the ablative case, casus ablativus, in with in, and that's the only, or after the word in, the preposition in. You're going to find you're going to use this in a lot of other places, but for now, we only have in, and that's where the ablative is taken. So, yes. Vocative is really easy. The vocative, vocativus, comes from the word vocare, to call, okay? So it's used in direct address, such as, yo, Mabel, I'd like a ham on rye, okay? You are addressing Mabel directly. You may say her name or something else to get her attention, okay?
How about our Father or Hail
Or
Mary?
in the well, the Pater Noster is not a good example. Ooh, that's a good question. Did I misspell Mabel? Mobile, no, well, I didn't misspell it, but that's not the noun I want. There we go. I think you might be right there. So we have seen it in the Mass. Dominus is the Lord, but you may hear the word Domine. In fact, this is Lent, miserere Domine, have mercy on me, O Lord. You are addressing the Lord directly. You wouldn't say miserere Dominus in Latin, because Dominus is not the way you address a masculine noun like that. We haven't seen it yet. You will get it, I believe, in the 3rd chapter, if I'm not mistaken. But again, I want to mention the 6 cases, so at least you recognize the names. So now, what's fun about the, the nice thing about the vocative is for the A ending nouns, it's the same thing, okay? For the US, it's only the US ending nouns that you change it to an E, okay? For the UM ending nouns, doesn't change. So it's a pretty easy case to memorize. So when you put all this together, the 6 cases, and so anyway, sorry, I'm getting ahead of myself. So we have these 6 cases. Now, we then have to apply those 6 cases to the first and second declension. First and second declensions are pretty easy, okay? The first declension contains feminine nouns that end in A. Okay, there are a few exceptions, but I don't even want to talk about them. Probably shouldn't even mention them. For example, the word papa, pope. Well, last time I checked, the papa in the last 2,000 years, give or take, has always been a male. So we would say my pope, Papa May, we wouldn't say Papa Mea, we would actually say Papa Meus. We would use it, pretend it was a masculine noun, but that's like, there's only a handful of exceptions, and don't worry about it because it's going to be a long time before you ever see them in the reading. So anyway, masculine, there are 3 kinds. They end in US, IR, and ER. You will see these in chapter 2. And then neuter, you've seen the US already. A good example of the IR is the word vir, which means male, man, masculine. Okay, I mean it means a male person. Okay, vir. Ager is field, and that's also a masculine noun that belongs to this declension. But again,
Michael, are all 3 of those the singular case?
yes, those are all singular.
Okay, thank you.
Michael,
Good point. Singular forms.
Michael?
Yeah.
I just to comment that both vir and puer are introduced in chapter 2.
Oh, thank you. Puer. Forgot about that one. Yeah. Puer, by the way, means boy. Puella is girl.
Girl.
Vir is man, and I mean a male. And then femina is woman or mulier. Well, the mulier is another word for it, but that's comes later. And so so vir, femina, puer, puella. And then neuter is in the second declension, you only have ending neuters.
So all three, servus, vir, and puer, are all introduced in chapter 2.
Yes. Yes, they are. Okay. And that's why, by the way, I'm going through this, is to kind of prime for chapter 2 here. As I said, I did throw that in there. As I said, declinatio prima, first declension contains mostly feminine nouns. They all end in A in the nominative singular, and I should put that in there.
Mhm.
That is a good point.
You're welcome.
One exception I said are words for a person that is clearly male. Papa is male, despite what some German prelates may want or think. So it is technically a masculine noun, even though it looks like a first declension noun. So as I said, you would say, my Pope would be Papa Meus, as opposed to Papa Mea. Or maybe using a word that you guys have known, you would say Papa Manius, the big Pope, or Papa Parvus, the little Pope. So, but there's only a handful of exceptions, and you got a long way before we get any words like that.
Hey,
So
Michael,
anyway, for now, just assume they're feminine and ignore the German prelates.
Michael, I just had a question pop in my head when you said that. When I studied Spanish, and I studied it for a little while, I'm not fluent, but I do remember that sometimes the word order changes the meaning. Like I was thinking grande hombre and hombre grande. One of them means like a really fat guy, and the other one means a really important guy. Is there anything like that in Latin?
Well, you said
No,
it
I
doesn't matter.
I don't believe there's any significance in the word order. I've never heard of it.
Okay,
However,
Oh, also, often the really fat guys are the really important guys.
in some cases, yeah. Latin has a different word for fat, so we're at least safe there. So no, I don't know of any equivalent in Latin, because again, Latin, Papa Manius and Manius Papa is.
yeah, I guess since the word order isn't that important, there's no way it could really be important.
Yeah.
In that way. Okay.
Now, having said that, Pope Gregory the Great,
Mhm.
Papa Gregorianus Manius. Okay. Now in that case, Manius. In that case, it doesn't mean that Pope Gregory was a big guy. It does mean Pope Gregory the Great. So there is a certain amount you have to pick up from context there.
Okay, thanks.
But you could say Manius Papa Gregorianus, big Pope Gregory. Well, no, I don't. It doesn't make any difference. Anyway, so now first declension. Let's get through this here because we only got 10 minutes. You drop the A on the end to get the thema. And the TH sound is not like the in English. It is like Thomas, tema, okay? Or tema, sorry, short E. And terminatio. So we've already seen insula, insulae, and the ablative. These are the others I'm throwing in there just because eventually you'll need them. And that way I can reuse this chart and unhighlight those. That's another reason. So insula, here's an example. Insula, insulae, plural. Insula is the ablativus. Insulis would be the plural. We haven't seen those yet, but we'll get to them pretty soon. Second declension, a little more complicated because we have masculine and neuter nouns. They have US, IR, and ER nouns that are masculine. And we'll see the IR and the ER in the next chapter. As Alex pointed out, there's vir, man, and puer, boy. And they follow one pattern. The UM nouns of the second declension are neuter. They follow a similar but slightly different pattern. There are two places that they vary in, namely the nominative. One is US, one is UM. And then it is in the plural is where the, so one oppidum, one city, and two cities is oppida. So that is really the biggest change in the two. So that's why they're all lumped together, okay? But again, just need to know the nominative and the ablative, and really so what you're going to see here is the good news is a lot of these endings are the same across the board, okay? You may not know what all these things are at the moment, but you can see that by and large, the endings are the same across the board. So these endings they can be frustrating at times, and you got to memorize them, but they're not as bad as you may think. And we'll talk about that some more later.
So Michael, those letters are common. They could be applied to any noun.
Yes. So for example, let's see. Oh, ablativus. The genitive form would be ablativi, dative ablativo, ablativum. So yeah, any US ending noun, okay, that's in the second declension. And the only difference in the ER and the IR is they don't end in US in the nominative. So we have puer, vir and puer, but it is pueri and viri, puero, viro, puerum, virum. So yeah.
Michael, just a correction on here.
Oh,
Yeah, in the neuter, in the plural accusative, that's a, not os.
whoa, you're
I was
right.
gonna point that out,
You're
yeah.
right. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. I knew there was another place that changed.
Alex beat me to it.
Sorry.
No, that's. No, I was concerned you were late because there wasn't going to be anybody to catch all my typos. So. All right. So. And likewise, in the first and second declensions, there are similarities. Okay. Notice that the genitive singular and the nominative plural have the same endings, okay? Which is the same as in English. I mean, the endings are different, but it's the same pattern.
On this one, you also have.
Oh, did I? Yeah. Well, hey, when I copy and paste, I'm consistent. What can I say? Whoa. Oh, no, wait. Hold on. No, that's an OS. These are all, I chopped off the UM or the UM.
Oh, those are the masculine, sorry.
Yeah, sorry. Yeah. I need
was
to add
thinking
that.
of the neuter.
But anyway, the important thing is to look for patterns to help with memorization. And again, we don't need to get too bogged down here. Okay, we talked about that. Again, the Familia Romana uses the natural method. So pay attention to the endings. I'm kind of rushing here. Be aware of the Latin's flexible order. Keep reading. Note the words in the margins. Look through the Latine or Disco Latine. And answers often explain the questions. They will ask you a question and then they will give you an answer. And often that answer with the question makes sense, and look for context. So let's see here. Oh, I did put the adjectives in here. Well, we already talked about this, so we'll skip the adjective part. Rule for adjectives. Yeah, okay. Websites. All right. talk briefly about these. I want to take a little bit of time. Latinicium is a simple online dictionary. And this should be, oh, I didn't make it a link. How silly of me. Let's see. Web page. There we go. So I can click on it. There we go. Open the link. And let me switch to my browser. Here we go. So you can type in a word like oppidum, and it will tell you what the meaning is. Okay.
If
Now,
you typed in like the accusative form, will it still find?
yeah, now the problem is it does not know the declension forms, okay? I'll talk about next time another website that does do the declension forms.
My
The nice
online
thing
Latin-
about, well, hold on. The nice thing about this is it has Lewis and Short, and it has the Handbook of Latin Synonyms, and it has the Modern English Latin Dictionary. So if we typed in the word engine, it would tell you
Oh, nice.
a number of possibilities. Machina, for which we get the word machine. Machinatio. Oh boy, machinamentum. That's for battering walls down. Tormentum. Okay, this was a thing that threw heavy missiles, kind of like catapults. And there's the organum for various kinds of siege engines. So you can, you can use that to find all sorts of stuff.
The online Latin dictionary that I use,
I know. We'll get to Perseus. Yeah, I know, Teresa. You
Okay.
use Perseus. We'll get to that next time.
Okay,
Oh, speaking of which, here's Perseus. Sorry, I did have it was next in the list. Perseus is a little more awkward to use, but it works as well. I put in oppidum. It says dictionaries. So a town, a collection of dwellings. You can click on Lewis and Short and see what that whole entry is. Okay. And if you go back and you put oppida and click search, it's going to say, well, I don't know what an oppida is, but it is probably an inflected form. Inflected just means the ending has been changed. So you can click on oppida and it will tell you that is the plural neuter vocative or the plural neuter nominative or the plural neuter accusative. And if you go back to your endings, you find that those are the three possibilities with that. So, let's see here. I'll actually, Sharon, remind me that in a minute before we finish. Google Translate is another one. It's actually gotten a lot better. Hold on, let me bring it up here. Over the years. Let's see, let me close those out. You can put it, well, you better tell it that, oh, it does actually know that this is Latin in this case. And you can say oppidum manium, and it will say the large town or a big town or whatever. You can actually do put in simple sentences in here, and it will actually do a respectable job. As I said, it's gotten better over the years. Originally, it didn't know endings worth squat. So, but now we can make this. There we go. Large towns. Now notice.
Yeah, what happens if you
The
get the right
manium
one?
is wrong. Okay, it should be oppida mania. So it's got its quirks, but I offer it as something. And you can click on. Let's see. Let's go back to oppidum. There we go. Yeah, and it will tell you, town, herb, it'll give you some alternate Latin, what's the word I want? Synonyms. So it has its uses. Now, the one though that I wanted to mention, and I'm not bothering to switch back here. I'm going to stay in the browser. All right, everybody has heard of the Wikipedia, right? Well, there's the Wikipedia. And yes, it is a version of the Wikipedia in Latin. So
Is it good?
Yeah, that's my
yes, it
question.
is actually. Yeah, here's an article on Pope Benedict. This is
accurate.
done by people who are very serious Latin folks who are donating their time.
Here's what I found.
So it's yeah, it's actually quite good. Let's see, Statio.
I'm assuming they use the classical Latin.
There we go. No, it uses, well, there's not really that difference between classical and ecclesiastical. It's merely form than it is real substance. But in case you wanted to know what the International Space Station was in Latin, it is Statio Spatialis Internationalis. It's hard for me to switch between Latin and English all the time. So you can really read about it. So,
I was wondering, what would the famous quote by Louis XIV, "I am the state," be in Latin?
oh, I'd have to think about that. Let me get through the list here. Let's see. Hold on. Oh, Sharon had a good question. All right. So anyway, well, let me jump back to the. Okay, so you are referring to the. Whoops. You're referring to the vocabulary down here, Sharon?
Yes.
All right, and what was the question?
Well, I tried to do the flashcards, and there's a little little link there. So when you click it, it tells you how to pronounce it, but it only says it in English. And then I went to the settings where you can set it to keep the English pronunciation silent and only pronounce it in Latin, but then it still only pronounces it in English.
Okay, hold on here. What's going on? I'm not seeing. Oh, I know what's happening. I'm zoomed in. Nope. Let me zoom out a little bit.
Next to
That's
the
weird.
next to the definition, there's a little.
Yeah, I know. I see it. Well, I'm not
Yeah.
even getting. Hold on. I'm not even getting. Okay, you got to turn the audio on.
I did.
Okay, and answer with Latin, study over. Okay, so that should take care of that, but I'm not why am I not getting, oh, there we go. So vocabulum, and this is Latin to, oh, we want the other one. We want English to Latin, or you want to, or you want this?
Word.
Yeah, see, okay, I see what's going on. You have got to go to flashcards. Oh.
Yeah, that'll be it. There you go.
Yeah, and it comes up as Word, doesn't it? Oh. Huh.
Did you try the English to Latin ones already?
Yeah, these are the Latin to English. All right, let me try the English to Latin, see if that works. Whoops. Went too far. Oh, actually, I just go back one. That's easier.
What?
Oh.
Word.
Let's,
Maybe try flipping it.
there we go.
Oh,
Yeah,
then
see?
it doesn't have a thing.
Doesn't have a thing. Apparently, it only has it in English, which is kind of surprising. All right, let me try the other one. I think the other one is the same.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
guess
Right
I don't
there.
understand. It's not super helpful to only have the
Yeah.
pronunciation for the English words, but I don't know.
And there's there's a options to change when you go down on audio and turn it on, it says more advanced. And then I turned off the English pronunciation. And then I
Oh,
turned on I turned off the English and I turned on the Latin, and then I saved it, and then it still didn't work.
oh, all right.
It says answer with English. You gotta see where it says answer with. Scroll over.
Well, let's see what it says here. Let's close that.
Word.
Yep, we know that that is pronounced word.
No, it's pronounced
Oh,
wed.
Okay, well, all right. I will write to them about that. That does seem to be a oversight on their part. However, most of these should be pretty easy vocabulum, or at least, well, of course, I know how all of these are pronounced anyway, so maybe that's not fair. Unus, and then capitulum, oceanus, all right, esse sum fuisi futurum. This is the verb to be. I'm going to ignore that one for the moment. Et and oppidum. So you should see exemplum. Well, I guess, okay, some of these they have, some of they don't. I will mention that to the publisher, just to let them know that it would be not, well, it does appear, I mean, if you look at it, audio on, English off, Latin audio on.
It just occurred to me that I think that the flashcards are hosted through Quizlet, and that Quizlet like only has the text to speech engine for English, not Latin. And that might be the source of the problem.
Is it really Quizlet? Because
Well, if you scroll
Junction
down,
is-
if you scroll
Junction-
down, if you scroll down and close that out, and then you scroll down and look, see it says Quizlet view the study set. I think it's like an embedded thing from Quizlet.
Oh, it could be.
Yeah,
Oh, there it
okay.
is.
Where does it say Quizlet?
at
Can
the
you
bottom
see it
left.
down there on the bottom.
Bottom left. Oh, I can't see it on my screen.
Well, here, let me shrink this down. Maybe it'll help. Maybe it won't.
Oh, okay.
Oh,
So
yeah,
it's
that-
not a, okay.
Yeah, you can choose a study mode. Well, it chopped it off on the, excuse me, because it's a pop-up. So match, learn, test, flashcards, spell. Oh, click here. What's this?
Well, I never saw this function.
Oh,
Oh, yeah. It's not playing the sound.
yeah, it's not playing the sound though.
thousand,
Whoop, hold on.
thousand, thousand.
Oh, well, it's going to tell you the English answer. Yeah. Okay. I suspect that is a problem with the embedded. Yeah, it's an-
Honestly, though, I don't think that really helps. I don't think Quizlet is being, branded to ancient Romans trying to learn English.
I understand. Yeah, I agree.
I think
So
Quizlet might need to have an email sent.
I will mention it to them. I will mention it to them. So let's see. Okay. Any last questions? Because we need to wrap up here.
What is the homework?
Thank you. Speaking of homework, okay. I'm going to put this up here because some of you are behind. I will not name names, but you know who you are. And I do warn you, do try to keep up. I know life interferes. Heck, I had COVID that took me out for 2 weeks. So, if anybody can appreciate that. But we do build on each lesson. Okay. And if you get too far behind, it can snowball. So do try to keep up best you can. So that's
Okay, wait.
my pep talk. Now, what we want to do is part 4 the Grammatica Latina, and you want to get to exercise 11. This is self-graded. Pensum A, you supply endings. Pensum B, you supply the word, and I guess I should pronounce that using Latin. Pensum C, you have to supply the sentence. So let me give you a very quick, where did I put it? Here it is. So let me go over to here. Okay, well, here's the fourth part. And this is where they start talking about the grammar itself. Now it's easy because you're going to do singular and plural. But pensum A is, collapse that. See, you want to fluvius singularis est, fluvii pluralis est, okay? So you're going to supply, no, I thought these were endings. Am I on the right one? Amelia, okay, maybe I have those backwards. So these are, oh, I see. Okay, you have to actually supply words. Let me see what the answers are down here. Oh, I'm sorry, you supply the actual words. Okay, unless you screenshot that, you're going to have to do that. Are singularis or pluralis nouns or adjectives? Yes. What do I mean by that? Okay. Singular. Well, okay, there are a class of adjectives that can be used either as a noun or as an adjective. Good example is good. If I use it as an adjective, I'd say good example. I could also say, I bought goods at his store. In that case, it is a noun. And so there are a whole class of words that can be either. In this case, I'm not sure it makes a whole lot of difference in this particular
Looks like a noun.
exercise, but
Do you scroll up to the top?
yeah, okay.
Yeah, when it says, the reason I asked you because it says fluvius
Oh,
singularis
I
est, and the
see
ending
what
doesn't
you're
match.
saying. Okay, okay.
And then.
You're right. If you use, yeah, you'd have to use plural. So, or you'd have to use a plural form of the word plural. No, so these are nouns. These are
Oh, they're
true
nouns, okay.
nouns in this case. So, yeah. I see what the question is. Yeah, good question. Let's see. Now it is 12 that I think, no, pensum A. Yeah, this one is, I believe, endings. Yeah, these are all the endings. I have that backwards. Okay. So this should be, there we go. There. A is supply the word, B is supply the endings, and C will be supply the sentence. So if we go here, this is kind of what you, this is sort of what you're interested in. So you're going to, oh, wait, B. Oh, wait, I'm on B. That's why. Let me get to C. Okay. I was going to say, so this is your usual, you know, the ones you've seen in the past. So C is a lot like the exercises you've already done. So yeah, try and do those. And let me get back to there. So, and the goal is to get to get through all of the exercises and the pensum, or in plural, it would be the pensa. And pensum is literally means a weight or a burden. But that is also the word used in Latin for homework. You know, Latin school children had homework and they called it pensa or pensum because it was a you know, something that they were burdened with in order to practice. So if you feel like the homework is a burden, well, you're right in line. There is a pensive that is thoughtful. That is a different word entirely. Okay. Different Latin root. All right. So last minute, any questions?
What word would that be? Just curious.
Oh, look it up.
Okay.
I don't want to delay the class. You have a good dictionary, Adam. I know you have a good dictionary.
True.
You've demonstrated that. Yeah. I don't know. I don't, well, anyway. All right, so let's finish up here. I will mute everybody and we will recite the final prayer. In nomine Patris et Filii et Spiritus Sancti. Amen. Ave Maria, gratia plena, Dominus tecum, benedicta tu in mulieribus, et benedictus fructus ventris tui, Iesus. Sancta Maria, Mater Dei, ora pro nobis peccatoribus, nunc et in hora mortis nostrae. Amen. So with that, we're done. I'll stay online a little bit. Let me terminate the recording.